You want me to do the statement part again?
You don't have to do that.
All right.
You got it.
Would you mind just summing up the statement a little bit and just your overall reaction to the developments?
Sure. I think the statement we sent out, I shared that we learned about the chief's withdrawing from the Baltimore process today. We know that the chief and his family are having a very difficult time with health, dealing with the health issue with their son, as everybody knows about. So really our focus is right now on the chief's family, and our prayers and thoughts are with him and his family. I also shared that a common question we get now in the process is the chief committed to Fort Worth, and when the time's right, Jay Choppa, the assistant city manager, and I'll sit down and make sure the commitment's there and doing all the things that need to be done in Fort Worth.
So you just use that word commitment. I know POAs use that word. I know the mayors use that word. What is it that you want to hear or expect to see that says there's a commitment?
Well, I think that's purely through action at some point in time. I was asked during the process, and we were patient with the Baltimore process and having that play out. It was a very awkward process, and we recognized it was awkward for the chief as well. That you get selected by the mayor, but it still has to be confirmed by the city council, and that was really the process that was playing out. In my mind, he had already selected to go to Baltimore as being the mayor's pick, right? So, in some ways, you already start working in your mind of what are the next steps that you have to go through, and so we just need to let the situation with his family play out. That's just the respectful thing to do, and then just sit down and make sure that these, want to make sure there's a commitment for Fort Worth for a long tenure.
So if there is commitment, then the chief.
Sure. Yeah.
Have you talked to him?
We've been sharing a lot of texts over the weekend, so we haven't personally talked today. Yeah.
The Sun reported last week about some discrepancies in his resume. Were those concerning to you, and have you vetted those before?
To be honest, I've not reviewed any of the material from Baltimore, right? So I didn't review the resume that he submitted to Baltimore, nor whatever application he submitted as part of Baltimore. I don't think that was my job.
What words, if any, do you have to offer to the citizens of Fort Worth who may be thinking the very same thing? Wow, this was awkward, and where is confidence in our police, or the leadership of our police department stand at this time?
Well, overall, I'd say, we have complete confidence in the Fort Worth Police Department. Some of them are represented here today. They're a top-notch agency, one of the best in the country. So to me, we shouldn't have any questions about the quality of the work that our men and women are providing. To me, that's without question. What we're talking about is just making sure that the leadership of the department is going to be there long-term, fully committed to the city of Fort Worth as we move forward.
Is there anything the city's sort of willing to offer to incentivize them to stay here, not look at another job again?
If that's really what this is about, right, that'll come out in that conversation when we sit down and have that. To me, there's a lot of reasons of why people are motivated to be in their jobs. It doesn't matter what department or department director you are in the city. We're talking about, compensation might be part of that. Working conditions may be part of that. We'll have that conversation.
I know you may have alluded to this a little bit earlier, but the fact that he was pursuing this job in Baltimore, and with word coming out that he may have exaggerated some of his accomplishments as Fort Worth Police Chief on his resume. I know that you haven't had a chance to review that, but could any of those factors perhaps by any chance compromise his continued employment with the city of Fort Worth?
I'll go back to, we used a very thorough process, and the community was involved in selecting Chief Fitzgerald as our police chief. We picked the right police chief. We had the right process. He was completely vetted, getting the job here in Fort Worth. So really, that's the way I look at that. I have not reviewed anything that he submitted as part of the Baltimore process, and so I can't answer that question.
David, getting back to that word commitment, is it fair to say you're questioning the chief's commitment to Fort Worth at this point?
Well, I just think it's a common question that comes at me, right? And so I've got to convince other people that we have a commitment. So it's not just what I feel. It's can he and I commit or show that broadly in the community.
And do you have any indications there are any other applications or jobs he was considering besides this one?
I have no other indication.
How much of a distraction, if any, has this been to you at City Hall?
Well, I think it's a distraction to not only me at City Hall or the mayor and the city council. It's a distraction inside the agency as well, right? And so that's a large organization that, again, we have a great police department with great leadership up and down the ranks, but it does, people start asking questions, right? Who's going to be in the chair next? What is this? I mean, so it is unsettling, and, at least what the decision today of withdrawing from the Baltimore process, right? It makes it a little more focused, and now we get to deal with something that's a little more concrete, too.
With respect to what the chief's family is dealing with right now, is there any, even general time frame in mind as to when you would have a conversation or when any interaction would take place?
I don't want to go to that point yet. I think where we ought to be is having the chief and his family in our prayers and thoughts. That's really got to be what we put most of our focus on right now.
As the chief and his family deal with this crisis with their son, is there going to be somebody else that takes on some of his roles within the department?
Well, I don't think it'll be any different than if he was on vacation or at a conference. We have a great leadership team with the police department, so I don't see any of that being any different. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you. I was hoping to talk to him. We'll see if. Is it okay if can Manny come up here while we have the microphones up here, or would you rather do it some? We were going. We're all set up right here. I'll get it at the same time. It'll save you some breath.
You know, long time no speak.
Do you have something you want to say or just questions?
No, just questions is fine.
What's your reaction to the latest developments? It's sort of been an ongoing saga for a while.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I'd like to echo City Manager Cooke's sentiments. The chief, he's a member of this department. He's an officer just like the rest of us, and I think his family has to be in our thoughts and prayers right now. We have to lift him up not only in prayer, but with our actions. So we're wrapping our arms around him and making sure that his family has everything that they need right now.
You heard what the city manager said about his commitment, and that he wanted a commitment from the chief to stay here. Do you have the same concerns?
Well, I think, yeah. I mean, our city deserves a commitment. Our department deserves a commitment, and I think that a clear vision and mission is important. It's important for an agency to thrive. It's important for an agency to continue to progress. The community deserves a commitment. So I do think that's important. But like I said, I think the appropriate time to talk about that is whenever we're not dealing with such an incident.
What entails the commitment in your mind beyond contract?
Just being able to establish a clear path and direction for the department, and have someone you can point to and say, you know what, this is the person leading the charge. This is the person we can rally behind, and make sure that we continue to do our jobs. Because the members of the Fort Worth POA, we're going to continue to do our job, no matter what. Throughout the ordeal, throughout the process, our members have been steadfast in their commitment to protect and serve the citizens. They'll remain that way.
Do you think the rank and file is standing by the chief, that they'd like to see him continue on now for all
Absolutely. I think everybody's reaching out right now and making sure that the chief has everything that he needs as he's dealing with the injury or the illness with his son, and I think that's most appropriate.
Your personal reaction when you heard the news about the chief not going?
Oh, I mean, I honestly, like I said, my heart goes out to him as well. I think that we can all put ourselves in his shoes with a child with an illness, and it's heartbreaking. So I think that should be the number one priority right now, is to make sure that the chief feels that support from the community right now.
And Manny, what's the membership